Hey, welcome back to Just a Pinch. Today's recipe is focaccia bread. It's light, airy, crispy, salty, and super delicious. And you know what? You can probably make it from the ingredients that you already have in your cupboard. You ready? Let's go. As always, the recipe is linked in the description down below. Get 250 ml of water up to temperature. You're looking to get it anywhere between 40 to 45 degrees Celsius. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's tepid water. So it's not cold tap water, it's not room temperature water, and it's certainly way below boiling temperature. You know what, let's not complicate it. It's warm water. Add your yeast to your water and stir to combine. We're rehydrating the yeast and also waking him up from his little slumber. Now let it rest for about 10 minutes. We need to see if he's still alive. Yeast is a living microorganism and it feeds on the natural sugars and starch in your flour and essentially converts those into carbon dioxide gas. I know, true story. That's what gives your dough rise and the bubbles. It's yeast farts. Now, if your yeast hasn't started bubbling in your water, it means it's dead. Chuck it away and start again. But if it looks like this, it means the yeast is alive and we are ready to rock and roll. Add the rest of your water and then add your flour in. Mix it on medium-low for about 5 minutes. We're just looking to rehydrate the flour. Now this is where you can add your salt. Now add your poshest olive oil that you can afford. At least get extra virgin olive oil. This is one of those dishes where if you spend a little bit of extra money on your ingredients, the results exponentially increase the flavor and the outcome of your dish. Let's take your dish from meh to amazing. Do it! Now it's time to turn the mixer on to medium-high. You're going to let this thing mix for about 10 to 15 minutes. I know it seems like a really long time, but because the dough we're making has such a high hydration level, we need to make sure that we knead this and activate all of the gluten as possible, which is going to give us that nice big rise that we're looking for. I promise you, resist the temptation to add more flour. It's going to seem like your dough is far too wet. It's fine, trust me. You'll know your dough is ready when it starts to pull away from the sides of the bowl. Once your dough is ready, you're going to get a large mixing bowl and coat it all in olive oil. Spread it around up and down the sides. Transfer your dough into this bowl and then cover it. We're going to let this rest for about an hour. Ideally, you could do it for 2 hours, but if you're really keen, you can let this go overnight. Let that yeast work its magic and fart all that gas out. Grab a large sheet pan and dust it with some flaky sea salt. Spread some olive oil all over it. Now, I know this recipe uses a lot of olive oil, but you just got to trust me on this. It's one of the main ingredients. Transfer your dough into your sheet pan. Using your hands, spread it out gently. If your dough resists and doesn't stretch out to the side, that's okay. Leave it alone, walk away for 15 minutes, and then come back until your gluten has relaxed. Stretch your dough out all the way to the sides. Now the next part, you're going to need some help.
Michelle! Next!
Get your girlfriend and your sister to add dimples to your dough. We're adding dimples because it adds a nice layer of texture and it soaks in the olive oil and the toppings that we're going to add a little bit later.
I feel like a kid again.
Now it's important to let your dough rest for another 30 minutes. Now I know you're probably sitting there and going, gosh, can't I just put this in the oven? How many times do I have to rest the dough? We've got to let that gluten relax. In the meantime, preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius. We're going to start preparing our toppings now. Carefully slice up some fresh rosemary. Thinly slice 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, and add this to a little bowl and top it up with some olive oil. Jeez, how much olive oil is in this recipe?
A tiny bit of olive oil, tiny bit of olive oil, tiny bit of olive oil. I put a tiny bit of oil in the little olive oil, splash of olive oil.
Once your dough has rested for 30 minutes, let's add our toppings. Oh, look at that. This looks so good. Now, if letting your dough rest for 2 hours and then 3 hours and then flipping and folding and all that kind of stuff is not great for you, and you're looking for something really quick and easy to make, well then you should check out my Welsh Rarebit recipe, which I'll link over here. It's the most indulgent grilled cheese you'll ever have. Go check it out. The oven's now at temperature. Let's put our dough into the oven. You're going to put it in there between 20 to 25 minutes or until golden brown. When your focaccia bread is ready, remove it, place it on a wire rack, and hit it immediately with some fancy flaky sea salt. Gosh, that looks good. Coming up next, we're going to taste this focaccia bread. We're looking for a few things. Is it crispy, light and airy and fluffy, salty? How good is that posh olive oil that we spend far too much money on? But first, if you like this video, give it a like. Hey, comment in the comment section below. And of course, subscribe. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers. If you share this, it's really going to help. Thank you. Right, let's taste. Took ages to make, but let's see, is it worth it? Ooh.
That was amazing.
I'm ready. I'm ready for my piece now. Thanks, Nu.
Yeah, thank you. And well done.
It's good, eh?
You still funny, turn it off.